Hello and welcome to New York Theater Barn's New Work Series. My name is Joe Barros and I am the Artistic Director of New York Theater Barn.
Hello, and I am Jen Sandler and I'm the Associate Artistic Director.
Yes, this is the 10th virtual installment of our New Work Series.
That is insane, and that means since March 25th, we have brought 20 new musicals to life in development.
Wow. Tonight we are excited and proud to present excerpts from the new musicals Teeth and MÂYΑ.
Yes, and we are proud to have partnered with Broadway On Demand. Tonight is the second time we will simulcast with Broadway On Demand.
Yes, and in recognition of the violence against Black men, women, and children, we decided to postpone our New Work Series last week. We are still very excited about presenting the work of 4 incredible musical theater writers under 20, but we decided to leave the stage open for vital conversations and for the voices that needed to be heard.
Absolutely. And with intention, our company has been conscious about increasing diversity on and off our stage. New York Theater Barn is an all-inclusive home for all artists, audiences, advocates, and allies.
We actively seek out important stories from storytellers we want to hear from. We identified that these stories must be told accurately and authentically for the sake of our shared humanity and because it just makes much more interested storytelling.
Absolutely. And we plan to do this in an even bigger way moving forward as we stand with our entire community. Black Lives Matter. And here to tell us more about this initiative is New York Theater Barn's board member, Blair Russell.
Hello, I'm Blair Russell, a producer, consultant, and one of the newest members of New York Theater Barn's board of directors. I joined the board in February, at a time when we were just beginning to consider the effect that the coronavirus may have on our lives. And 4 months later, it's like we're living in a different world. And I think a lot of us are asking ourselves, what can we do? What does our future look like? I don't know that any of us knows the answer to those questions, but I'm proud to be part of an organization that is continuing to try and find those answers, even when faced with such uncertainty and huge challenges. I like to remember the power that theater has to bring us together and to inspire us. In a typical week, I would be sharing with you that New York Theater Barn is a 501c3 nonprofit organization and that any donation you make is tax deductible. But this week, I also have the honor of sharing that we will be directing 50% of any donation you make to the NAACP Legal Defense and Educational Fund, and that for the foreseeable future, we will be continuing to donate a portion of the monies we receive to organizations that are supporting the Black Lives Matter movement and the protesters around the country fighting against injustice. I'm excited for you to see the 2 new musicals we have tonight. The first being Teeth by Anna K. Jacobs and Pulitzer Prize winner Michael R. Jackson, and the second being MÂYΑ by Cheeyang and Eric Sorrels. Thank you for supporting live theater, and I hope you enjoy the show.
Thank you, Blair. We are excited to support the NAACP Legal Defense and Educational Fund.
Absolutely. And thank you, Blair, for all you're doing for the company right now. It does not go unnoticed. And we are also thrilled to announce that next week's charity is going to be the Black Women's Playwright Group, which serves African-American playwrights writing for the professional theater. So we're excited to work with them next week.
Yes, we are. And our New Work Series, our last New Work Series featured the new musicals Salam Medina, Tales of a Half-Can by Rona Siddiqui, and Newton's Cradle by Heath and Kim Saunders.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago. And here is a clip from our presentation of Salam Medina, Tales of a Half-Can. Take a look.
Well, it all started when I was hanging out with my mentor, Kirsten Child. And we'd just be like driving around and I'd start telling her stories. And she'd be like, you really need to turn these stories into a musical. I was like, no, they're just normal stories. She's like, no, they're not normal stories. An anecdote that kind of expressed what it's like to kind of live in this ambiguous, like, I'm being told that I'm white from some people, and then I'm not being treated like I'm white from other people, and how that kind of messes with your head. And so I just started like bringing the anecdotes to life. And then,
hey, you know what time it is? Pack your bags and wear your red, white, and blue. Cause we're going to the airport, baby. And if you're brown, you might not get through. At the airport, love for the TSA. Highly trained defenders of the USA. Stand right up as as your rights fall away at the airport, love for the TSA. Heading out to Phoenix for to see my love. My beard game is on point, new diesels fit like a glove. All snug in my seat as we're ready to fly, when two dudes board with guns and one says, that guy. I look right and left for who the criminal might be. Next thing I know, they got their hands on me. Get off the plane or we'll take you down. You can find yourselves in cuffs if you're traveling while brown.
Well, Rona and I met at a strange loop. Rona invited me to be a part of Salam Medina.
And I really wanted to address the immigrant experience, but I also wanted to talk about what happens internally. And I think about the fact that my dad left his homeland and made a new life here, had children. His children have no connection really to the place that he grew up, and how hard that must have been for him.
For the things they'll never know, I am so happy. For the things they'll never know, I am so sad. For in the things they'll never know is where my heart is. But I suppose that's how it goes when a pigeon flies and doesn't come back.
Oh, I just love the work of Rona Siddiqui, and she's quite the talented music director as well.
Absolutely.
Now here's a clip from the presentation of Newton's Cradle. Take a look. So you are a mother and son writing team, but your collaborators are your family, and you create as a team called the Saunders Collective.
Actually, all five of the Saunders siblings are involved in music and have been sort of for their whole lives. But about a year ago, Heath and his New York-based siblings really started thinking about the opportunity to potentially start to collaborate more. And so the Saunders Collective sort of came into focus at that point. We have a website, thesaunderscollective.com. Heath and I have been collaborating around Newton's Cradle for maybe 7 years now. So it's been quite a journey.
Well, Newton's Cradle begins with a question, which is, how does a diagnosis help us and how does a diagnosis hurt us? It's about a young man who is diagnosed on the autistic spectrum, and he brings his long-term girlfriend to his family cabin up in the Alaska wilderness to propose to her. And spoiler alert, 5 minutes into the show, she turns him down, and that sort of begins the roller coaster. I started by exploring sort of a bunch of musical themes, and this song is the song that sort of was born out of those. Wandering, which is a term that refers to when a young person on the spectrum might get lost in their thoughts in such a way that they sort of lose track of the world around them. The camera goes inside of his brain, and we get to sort of watch him watch leaves fall as he looks for patterns in his life.
There's a pattern there. There's an order I see in the water where there are trees, in air, in anyone. But does anyone mean me? Oh, oh, oh.
Thank you again to Heath and Kim. And if people just saw, Heath just put up an essay about everything going on right now. It's a really, really special read if everyone gets a chance to read it. So fun fact, the writers of tonight's new musicals have had their work supported by a very special theater company in our community, the Musical Theater Factory.
And now here's a message from MTF's producing artistic director, MΑYЯ Teo.
Hi, I'm MAYЯ Teo, the producing artistic director of Musical Theater Factory. At MTF, we cultivate artistically groundbreaking new musicals that dismantle oppressive ideologies towards collective liberation through powerful and joyful story and song. I'm proud to introduce to you Cheeyang and Eric Sorrels with their musical MΑYЯ, and Michael R. Jackson and Anna Jacobs with their adaptation of Teeth. We at MTF have been really lucky to be able to support these musicals and are really grateful to New York Theater Barn for lifting them up, especially at this time. Both of these musicals ask the question, how can we be true and honest to our values in situations and times of turmoil? Could not be more resonant to this moment today. At MTF, we're in community with New York Theater Barn and uplifting culture-shifting musicals. And if you'd like to find out more, come check us out at mtf.nyc. Enjoy meeting these incredible artists. Thank you.
Wow, every time MＡYAN speaks, she gives me chills. She's such an incredible leader.
Right. It's always so much from her heart. And I love getting to know her whenever I talk to her. So on with our show. Our first musical tonight is Teeth, adapted from the 2007 Sundance Award-winning indie horror film by Michael Lichtenstein. Teeth tells the story of Dawn O'Keefe, an evangelical Christian teen with a powerful secret. She has teeth in her vagina. When the men in Dawn's life try to exploit her, she is forced to choose between survival or destruction.
The writers of Teeth are the 2020 Pulitzer Prize winner for drama, Michael R. Jackson, and the award-winning writer, Anna K. Jacobs, the writer of Pop, about the shooting of Andy Warhol, and Echo, which was featured in New York Theater Barn's new work series.
And now joining us are the writers of Teeth, Michael R. Jackson and Anna K. Jacobs. Hello. Thank you guys for joining us today.
Hi.
Hello.
Thanks for having us.
Of course, and I know you
Yes.
guys are both in New York, which I feel like is rare now.
Right.
How has your quarantine been so far, Michael? I think you've had some events happen to you, so you've been pretty good, I'm sure.
It's been a busy time, weirdly, and doing it all from the glamour of my bedroom with my two roommates. I've just been answering a lot of emails. Let's put it that way.
That's what happens when you want to support people.
So what inspired you to adapt this film, and who called the other to bring the other on board?
Michael called Anna.
Right. Yeah, I had seen the film, and I was really taken with it, and I thought that there was something in it. There was like a religious element and sexuality that like spoke to my experience, and Anna was someone who I really admired as a composer, and I thought that we might make something of it.
That's awesome. So I guess we should just bring on the performers that are going to be performing these two songs. Let's bring them on. Here is Alyse Allen Lewis and Eric William Morris.
And I know they have a history with this show and your development.
Yeah, so I think Michael and I started working on this show in 2013. So
yes,
we've been at it 7 years now. And when we started working on it, we were in residence at Ars Nova. And at the end of your first year there, they let you do a concert where you showcase a bunch of songs that you've been writing. And it was before we even really had like a full script of the show. And Eric was in that very, very first concert, not singing the role that he's singing for us tonight. And Alyse has done a ton of development for us. She did a concert at 54 Below. Oh my God, I'm blanking. What else did you do, Alyse?
A reading at MTF.
MTF. I think it's one of the Sundance ones. NAMS. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they've both been, Alyse and Eric are performers that Michael and I both absolutely adore, and we both work with them a lot in many contexts.
That's right.
That's right.
And what is the first song we're going to be hearing tonight?
We're going to be hearing a duet called Modest is Hottest, which is sung between the characters Dawn, who's our protagonist, and her boyfriend Toby. And they are meeting at New Testament Village, which is the church where Dawn has her meetings with her Promise Keeper girls, who are sort of teens who are committed to purity until marriage. And this song is a one between Dawn and Toby, where Toby is declaring some of what he loves most about Dawn.
Great, let's take it away then.
You don't rock tank tops and booty shorts. You don't invite the I do ask for more. You don't wear skirts above the knee. You dress with class and modesty. Some girls go out with pants that without your purity ring. You don't tempt fate with spaghetti straps. You're a girl who keeps it all under wraps. 'Cause modest is hottest, modest is hottest. Underneath it all, safe and suspended. Modest is hottest, modest is hottest. Right under my nose, the way God intended. Modest is hottest, modest is hottest. Dressed so my eyes are never offended. I'm kind of obsessed when it comes to your purity.
My love for him is so intense. I read his word and everything makes sense. The ring ensures I'll never fail until the night I shed my wedding veil. My precious gift is chastity. It's like gold, so it isn't free. I live my life accordingly to align with his plan for me. 'Cause modest is hottest, modest is hottest. That is all I know, it's not an illusion. Modest is hottest, modest is hottest. You're from head to toe in total seclusion. Modest is hottest, modest is hottest. How I steer clear of any confusion. Here in the arms of my God and my purity.
You're a flower, but with power, in the simple spell you cast. So sequestered, polyestered, that my pulse beats twice as fast. Modest is hottest, modest is hottest. You're like Christmas Day, anticipation. Modest is hottest, modest is hottest. First a slight delay, then gratification. Modest is hottest, modest is hottest. Hotter than H in my imagination. I'm just so obsessed when it comes to your purity.
My modesty makes me feel more secure.
Then I get depressed by your promise of purity.
An armor I wear to help me endure.
'Cause I'm totally, totally scared that I might turn you on.
It's fun watching real humans in a real room together.
Right?
Don't do that anymore.
It's just the advantage of being married and singing together.
It is nice to be able to be singing together.
Right?
So much talent sequestered in one room. My aunt actually just sent me a picture of my grandparents puzzled looking at the computer, and her caption says, "They're trying to wrap their head around teeth in the vagina." So,
Maybe watch the movie and imagine until you can see the show.
that's right. I just want to say, Nanny and Papa Theater is magical. All right, so tell us a little bit more about the development of this show. We know that the show was featured in the National Alliance for Musical Theater's Festival of New Musicals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so sorry, can you repeat the question one more time? Tell us a little bit more about the
show's development.
Oh, yeah. Yes, we started Ars Nova, and then we did a couple different developmental steps with the Musical Theater Factory. We went to Sundance to their theater lab. I might be doing this out of order. We went, we went to the O'Neill, and that we sort of took a big step forward there. And then we went to NAMT after. NAMT was the next thing after that.
Awesome.
So lots of development.
Awesome. So we've got one more song tonight, and Alyse is going to be singing that. Would you guys tell us a little bit about that song?
This song is the title song, Teeth, and lots of things have happened before it. But the most important thing is that the first penis of the night has been sacrificed to the story. And our protagonist, Dawn, is on the run and sort of, he can't believe what just happened. And he's sort of like just reflecting on what's happened and what's going on with her body.
Something that's really crazy too is that this is the first song we wrote for the musical, and we almost immediately like pulled it out of the show, and then it like made this magical reappearance about 6 years later when we were at the O'Neill.
And
we're happy it came back.
And I want to make sure we mention, I feel like you have such a clean track tonight, and there's a reason why. You're working with a really cool new app, right?
Yeah. Well, first I want to mention that our friend Andy Zinsmeister, who plays guitar for us a lot, made the tracks, and it's really nice that we can all still work together over technology during this time. But Alyse and Eric are using this really cool app that I just became aware of, and it's called Stage Sound.
Ooh, better.
And it enables the person who's using it to drop a track into the app, and then it automatically mixes your voice with the track and puts it into your streaming platform, whether that's Zoom, or StreamYard or whatever, Facebook or whatever you're using. And you also have the ability to control reverb and the balance between the track and your vocals. So it's very performer friendly.
And I've truly been saying since this quarantine started, like somebody by the end will make something like this that's friendly to singers and people who want to sing on streams like this, because when we first started this in March, it was not like that at all.
Right. And somebody in London has done it.
So thank you, person in London. He has a name, right?
Yes, Adam Lenson. He is a director and a producer of an online concert series called Signal. And Alyse and I are doing a song for them next week.
There you go. So watch that and buy the app. It's in beta testing now, I think, right?
Yeah, I think they're almost done with beta testing, and then it's going to be released. So Stage Sound.
Someone says, what was the name of the app again? I will put it up one more time. It is Stage Sound. Yeah. So we set up the other song, so let's hear Teeth.
Ready?
Yeah. This can't be real. No, it's gotta be some kind of nightmare. Toby's all in one piece, he's safe in his bed. But I can feel how it felt when he forced it right in there. So this isn't a nightmare, Toby is dead. And he's dead 'cause of me. That cannot be denied. There's something abnormal that's lurking inside. I ran so fast, though time felt slow and unyielding. I wanted to hide, but the monster was me. A cop drove past. I freaked and ducked into a building, feeling judgment in every face that I'd see. And so convinced that they knew, so sure they'd recognize the demonic possession between my thighs. This is the dark satanic collision happening underneath. Something that cuts with razor precision. Teeth, 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 teeth. I close my eyes and I can envision teeth, 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 teeth. It's not of God, it's total depravity. I belong underneath, down in the swamp of my vaginal cavity. Teeth, 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 teeth. Under the surface, I hear all this clattering. It's rising from underneath. Between my legs, a set of sharp chattering. Teeth, 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 teeth.
You know, I think I was the first person to sing this song the first time we did it, Anna. Yeah, when you were talking about, because I sung this.
Wait, at Cap 21.
At Cap 21.
Oh, I totally forgot. Yes, that's right.
With who?
I totally forgot. With Jared Weiss.
Jared Weiss.
I totally forgot.
So this is also like very full circle, especially because I've gotten to be a part of this development for a lot of years. And I think the thing that I love about new work is in kind of finding the space that I can take up in my own career. I've really felt like this musical has helped me to take up space in really challenging how we talk about sexuality, how we're able to stand in that as women, and the power in that. So I really feel thankful that I've gotten to present this, because I feel like as I've been able to take up more space in different rooms, this musical's allowed me to do that. So it's the power of new work, the magic of new work.
Power of new work.
Beautiful. Thank you all so much for your beautiful talents tonight. Thank you, Alyse, Eric, and Michael. We so appreciate you being here.
We appreciate it. Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. We love New York Theater Barn.
We do.
We'll see you soon.
We'll see you soon.
Take care.
Oh. So now on to the second half of our presentation, MΑYЯ.
Told with contemporary language and a score that fuses Western pop and Indian classical music, MΑYЯ follows the Salt March in 1930 India and puts into question how a privileged individual can contribute to an independence movement. Sounds quite familiar. MAYЯ is written by Cheeyang and Eric Sorrels. Along with Musical Theater Factory, New York Theater Barn has been proud to support the development of Cheeyang's musical Eastbound, co-written with Kion Hersey. Eastbound is also an extraordinary new piece of theater that is told in both English and Mandarin.
And now joining us are the writers of MAYЯ, Cheeyang and Eric Sorrels. Hi, guys.
Hello.
We're going to say good evening to you, Eric, but good morning to you, Cheeyang, because we're already
Good
right
morning. I'm in Singapore. It's very early.
It's 7:47 in the morning. 12 hours ahead.
Absolutely.
It's great to see you both. It's great to have you here after we've worked on Eastbound, and I got to work with you both on another project. So it's great to have you. The show was originally called The Golden Threshold, and there was originally a song called In Between Two Worlds, which has evolved into another song, which we're going to hear tonight. And that new version, Jen and I have been wearing out all week.
It's true.
We call each other singing it, and everybody will know why. So tell us, what inspired you to create the show?
Yeah, so this was initially our thesis project at NYU, and we started out trying to adapt a Shakespeare play, and almost by chance our research led us to British India, and we found that complicated relationship and the Salt March were way more interesting than anything we would have adapted from Shakespeare. And so we kept digging deeper and deeper, and we came across this woman named Sarojini Naidu, who a lot of people in the West probably don't know very well, but she was a poet and an activist and a friend of Gandhi, and she was a participant in the Salt March. And so the more we dug, the more we wanted to write a story that shaped her and model the protagonist after her. And then we also wanted to infuse our own questions from what we were learning about the Salt March and how it could relate to today about how an artist and an activist can fuse those two parts of them.
Yeah, and at the same time, I think when we were writing, I was having like a very big existential crisis. And I think right now, when we're in this pandemic and this civil rights movement, basically, the same questions are popping up, right? It's a question of what can one person do, especially an artist. Can one person change the world or not? And I think the question of where we fit in art versus activism, I think that's something that is a big question in this show. And it's not just about people who are, not, I'm like not speaking properly because my brain isn't functioning. But I think the big question of just how can one person change the world is reflected in this piece, because we follow the story and the journey of our protagonist MÂYΑ, and she is this one privileged girl who thinks that, you know, everything is rosy and everything doesn't really concern her, which kind of reminds me of today. Even during the Black Lives Matter movement, there are so many people who are still sitting on the sidelines. And as an artist, you often question, how can you make a difference when this movement is so much bigger than you? And so a lot of these questions are kind of explored in this piece. And even though it's set in 1930, I think there's a lot of resonance with what is happening today.
Definitely. And I think the music is so special. It's, you know, both pop and classical. Can you guys talk a little more about the music?
Yeah, I mean, the very first song that we wrote for the show is called Outside Inside. We're not presenting that today, but that song took me, like, I think a couple of days to write, even though the very first draft was 2 minutes, because I had to really go study a lot of classical Indian music, and more specifically Hindustani music. And I think understanding where Indian classical music comes from, infusing vocal percussion, infusing Indian ragas, which are basically like Indian scales, and showcasing the voices of our amazing cast. I mean, basically, it took a lot of research, but immersing myself in another world of music was so beautiful. And then it's like finding the language of the show, right? Understanding what Indian music is authentically, but also infusing it with my own voice, musical voice.
And I think the fusion aspect is something that was really important to us when we were approaching the score, because we as a writing team are really drawn to stories that take the West and the East and bridge them together somehow. That's not just MÂYΑ, but that's a lot of the other projects that we've been working on. And we wanted the score to not only connect the West and the East the way the situation does, but we wanted it to connect the past and the present because of how we feel it resonates today. And ultimately, we want to be true to the story and ourselves at the same time. So that's what we're going for.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's something that Cheeyang does really, really well, the fusion. And that's what he also does in Eastbound, combining really delicious pop music with Chinese folk music.
Delicious.
Exactly. So I think we're ultimately really excited to hear this first song. So can you tell us about that?
Sure. This first song is the rewritten version of what you heard a while ago. This is called There Will Come a Day. It's our first introduction to MÂYΑ, and she is a Cambridge-educated poet, and she is sending off her collection of poetry. She's 20-something, fresh out of university, sending it off to these British critics in the West, and she's hoping and envisioning the future that her life as a poet will have.
Now you have the amazing Kuhu Verma singing this song tonight, who just won a Lortel recently. We saw her last summer. She's amazing.
And when she sings this song, the earth shakes. So buckle your seatbelt. Here we go.
In summary, I hope you consider publishing these little songs. Sincerely, MÂYΑ. In summary, I hope you consider publishing these little songs. Sincerely, MÂYΑ. And there will come a day you'll write back to me. You'll write me back and say you're everything we hoped you'd be. The poems you write, dear, are perfectly splendid, and you impressed us like none of the men did. I'll bow in thanks. Yes, there will come a day when I stand among their lauded ranks, and then there comes the day they grant me my name. I earn my sobriquet once I achieve the height of fame. Her poems, they sparkle and sing like a starling. Let's make her nickname as equally darling. One meant to stay, the ruby of the rock, as I fly off London shelves one day. And at times I can't help it but wonder I'd been born there instead. And with golden hair or hazel eyes, would these dreams live outside of my head? But of course that's not true, so what can I do but hope they approve of my mind? Pray I leave something behind. I can't pretend to know the way I'll make my mark, but I can all but see my parents beaming in a gathering crowd, rejoicing and loud when I forever change the world. For there will come a day when I'll fade away to ash, and I refuse to say my moment passed me by in a flash. Yes, I have time still to laugh and be smitten, but please every god, may they love what I've written. And if they do, then there will come a day that my dreams, they just finally come true.
Wow, that song. I feel like this week, I feel like everybody's going to want to be singing this song soon. It's so catchy. It's so great.
Thank you.
All right, so we have another guest joining us. Let us know who's with us tonight.
Yes,
joining us today is actually our director, Arpita Mukherjee, who we met at Musical Theater Factory and at an open share about 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago. I basically went up to Arpita and said, I have the show that talks about the 1930s Salt March, and it's basically a kernel of an idea, and we don't really know where to go with it. We would love to work with you to help shape this piece and discover what it is.
Wow, and Arpita, tell us more about how you came on and your work with the show.
Yeah, hi. My God, that song.
Thank you for joining us tonight.
Of course. Thank you for having me. Yeah, that's how it happened, and then we met for Thai food, and we talked more about the idea. And I think they were going into the NYU graduate thesis presentation, so that was the first time we had talked a lot that we worked on the show together. And I think I was just thinking about all the development the show has had and how much it's changed. And I just really wanted to really recognize that Cheeyang and Eric have both been the kind of writers where they have always been open to even taking their darlingest darlings, like that song, which was In Between Two Worlds, and, being open to really digging into what the drama of the show actually wanted to be and what this piece really wanted to be. So we worked on the graduate thesis together, and then we were really fortunate to get the opportunity to go to Live and in Color, which is run by Devanand Janki, who's the artistic director there, to have about 2 weeks. I don't know, it felt like a year, but it was 2 weeks up in Connecticut, where, I think the show completely changed by that time. And we had all our actors with us. Kuhu was with us. Jamin, who was in Rona's, I think, was with us. We had our whole cast, and Kimberly, who we'll hear from, was also with us. So we had the opportunity to really talk in depth with the actors and develop the show really much more there. I think Act 1 took shape there. And then we were at Pace New Musical Lab just this past, January. Right? Yeah. I can't, the years are I don't know.
No, that feels like a different life.
Yeah, it was that was the time when we were all gathered, and that was when they really did the work of taking apart Act 2. So, and that's all of that work, Act 1, Act 2, culminated in February. We did an industry read at Hypocrite Theater Company, which is the company I founded and I'm the artistic director of. That was sort of I think we had all these plans. So, I think Cheeyang can talk about, or Eric, you can talk about what was supposed to happen, and but that feels and we were just on this sort of train. But it's been a really exciting process to actually really discover all the themes in the piece. And for me, as a person who's from India and has lived in India for much of my life, it was sort of like really getting to know a place, because in India the history we're taught is mostly colonial, so it was sort of like learning that part of history from the voices of people like Sarojini Naidu, who were actually there, was really exciting. Yeah.
Eric and Cheeyang, do you have more to add about the development?
Yeah, I think we truly had a bunch of plans for the summer all the way through 2021, and they're all on hold, of course. But I think we were very thankful to have won the Eric H. Weinberger Award recently, and we were also finalists, one of the 6 finalists at the O'Neill. And we're just excited to keep working on the project. I think one of the things that we kind of did over the past 2 months is like we kind of put this show aside a little bit to kind of recharge, and we had a meeting just last week and we started talking about taking apart the first 25 minutes again and figuring out really what the dramaturgy of the show is, right? I think following only 7 characters, each character seems very necessary to take up a lot of space in the narrative, but also to the main point of the show, like what do we leave behind when we leave this world. I think as an artist, we sometimes, like I said, we don't know what that answer is, and I know that I find my answer through my art, and so that kind of really reflects in this piece.
And we know that it's as painful as it is to take apart and put it back together. Every time we've done it, we've moved forward, and so we're excited to do that again this summer in the way that we can.
You guys are such an amazing team. I love to hear that amazing stuff.
And I know when the time is right, post this entire thing, we'll see the show when it's ready.
Absolutely, and we really can't wait for it. We'd love to hear more about your second song, which is a duet.
Yeah, so the second song is called The Banyan Tree, and it's with MΑYΑ from the first song, and another character named Harini, who used to be a servant in MāYA's family. And now Harini is the one who sort of indicts MAYA in the first act and brings her into the world of the Salt March and Gandhi's philosophy of the civil disobedience. And by the time we reach this song, MAYA is almost a completely different person from where she started. And they're starting to, both of them have big questions about, okay, we're doing the march, right? But then what's next? Because now it's like we've made our statement, but it's not the end. It's not the culmination. It's just the beginning of change. So they're saying, what can we leave behind to make sure that the work we're doing right now lasts? And they're not afraid to confront their own doubts. It's okay to wonder if it's going to be better or worse, because the only way we're going to move past it is if we ask those tough questions. So the Banyan Tree is sort of trying to culminate all of that.
Great. Here is Kuhu Verma and
There will come a day we're all out of hope. We'll have to find our way, and maybe this is how we cope. Maybe words are the roots. When they're good, they can nourish, they can heal. Look at the twisted limbs and all the knotted wood. They're a sacred witness to all the bad and good. No matter what comes next, the banyan tree will stay. With all the chaos, fear and doubt, I think it helps to pray that the banyan tree will be standing still, and the banyan tree will be standing strong. Whether we fail or one day we prevail, I pray the banyan tree will be standing tall through it all.
There will be a place for us someday.
won't there? What if it doesn't work and Britain stays a curse? What if we gain our freedom, but everything gets worse? And if I have these doubts, who knows what more may spring? What if the world is watching us and we don't change a thing?
Then the banyan tree will be standing still, and the banyan tree will be standing strong.
And if that isn't true,
no, that has to be true.
the banyan tree will be standing still, and the banyan tree will be standing strong. And you're like the tree,
As long as you're here with me.
like the banyan tree will be standing.
So we'll pray.
So we'll pray. And if we can't keep the questions at bay, then we'll think of all we leave behind us, the little songs and more. They'll stay in our hearts and they'll remind us the country we're fighting for. We'll think of all we leave behind us, the little songs and more. They'll stay in our hearts and they'll remind us the country we're fighting for. And whatever future's in store, still the banyan tree will be standing there, and the banyan tree will be standing strong. And until we are free, I can be like the tree, like the banyan tree will be standing here, like the banyan tree will be standing strong. And whatever we do, I'll be there for you. I'll be by your side, standing tall through it all.
Wow, that was Kimberly Chatterjee from Cooper, Burma. You guys, we so love that. We so love that we can be connected with Cheeyang on the other side of the world in tomorrow. It's tomorrow over there.
It's pretty amazing.
This show really is the future of musical theater, and you're really creating something special. So thank you. We are so excited about this, and we can't wait for more people to know about this beautiful show.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us too.
Of course, and we can't wait to come together when we can again.
Yes.
All right, Cheeyang, go back to bed.
Go back to bed. Yeah. Good night.
Well, a huge thank you to Katie Kearns for her social media wizardry and for putting her heart and soul into telling stories with us this week.
And every week. Thank you, Katie. And thank you to Hector Flores Jr. for his incredible vision and work in editing all of our video footage every week for the last 10 weeks.
Absolutely. Thank you, Hector. And thanks so much to board member Blair Russell for his light and warmth in his beautiful video this week.
Thank you, Blair.
Well, that's our show for tonight. Join us for a special company event on Monday, June 15th at 5 p.m. for an all-female tribute to Edna Ferber here on our YouTube channel or on Broadway On Demand. Edna Ferber is the Pulitzer Prize-winning American novelist, short story writer, and playwright whose works include Cimarron, Giant, Ice Palace, and Showboat, which became the prolific and celebrated 1927 musical.
Yes, the celebration will introduce the first new musical work based on Edna Ferber's short stories and are written by Deborah Barsha and Sheila Ray. Laura Brandel is director, and there will be live performances by Jennifer Blood from Girl from the North Country and Diana Huey from The Little Mermaid.
Yes, an all-female tribute to Edna Ferber will also include a conversation with Ferber's grandniece, biographer, and estate executor Julie Gilbert.
Yes, and next Wednesday, June 17th, 2020 at 7 o'clock, like usual, our new work series will return with material from the new musicals Wally Flynn by Eli Boland and Stephen Gallagher and The River Is Me by Sakari Jones and Troy Anthony.
Yes, you don't want to miss the Ferber tribute and these incredible new shows. Thank you for tuning in tonight, and thank you for supporting live theater.
Yes, Joe, and I look forward to seeing you next week, both on Monday and Wednesday. Good night, everybody. Thank you.